stream.
Welcome to BearThoughts Podcast. We do this every Wednesday at 5 o'clock GPG time here at the BearThoughts channel. I hope you're having a good week and hope you're having a good day. And as always, hope you're having a good life. Be sure hit the like button, hit the like, and hit the share button. Let us everybody know and help us grow. Quick couple announcements before we get too deep into today's podcast. I got a quick couple announcements. Good to hear. Good to know we should have audio. For those who are not here, I'm going to announce this later on too, just in case somebody doesn't hear this. But for those who hear through the VODs, thank you for showing up. Be sure to hit the like button, leave that comment down below what you think about today's conversation. But we do have merchandise. We have 2 new items, which are down in the link below. 2 new ones. We got a hat and a beanie. I know it's not much as maybe someone else might like, but if you have any other ideas of merchandise you would like us to get into, we have a few things personally me and my wife are working on. Supporting the channel and helping the channel have a little bit of funds coming to us. Maybe we can do something new or maybe do some giveaways. I don't know. Be sure to go down below and pick you up one of the hats or one of the beanies. But for those who are new here, I am Gripper Bear. And as always, we have the illustrious Corvo Ninja.
What's up, everybody?
Forgot, like the camera's little. It's this way now.
Yes.
And of course we have no Stella today. She has taken her a nap.
Yeah, a well-deserved rest.
Yeah, they've been a busy bees, and I guess you might want to call it what, spring cleaning.
I call it get the shit out of my house cleaning, but yeah, no, because let's see, I guess in a way, what pushed it is Soren is now fixing to be in middle school. He's fixing to have to do a lot of actually book studying and crap like that. And that's going to be really, really difficult for him to do with a 7-year-old running around in his room. So I bit the bullet and got my uncle's trailer Saturday morning, pulled it down here, and we started loading up crap that was in that room. We called it the catch-all room. Everybody has one of those. Or if you haven't got one now, you had one. Don't lie to yourself. Where things go when you don't know what to do with them anymore. So
I can get that. I get that.
So we in the catch-all room was also the room where she was set up when she was doing customer service work from home.
Yeah.
So that she had a room she can go into, shut the door, be away from the kids, do her work. It's also where my large PLA printers were set up. So to get him in that room, all that had to come out. For all that to come out and to go into the location that I sent you the picture of, everything that was in that location had to go somewhere.
Yes.
90% of it is crap that we had not touched in probably a year and a half. Mm-hmm. And so it jumped on a trailer and it took a ride. Which freed up the space. We moved the stuff around. We're getting really close to having him in his room. I'm hoping by the end of the weekend he'll be in there. So in the scope of all this cleaning, I also repaired the sinks in the kitchen because if you've ever owned a home for any period of time, you know that the little rubber washer that goes around your sink drains, they will eventually dry out, crack, start falling apart. You will develop leaks. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't a big deal for a little while because we had the dishwasher and everything. But Stealthy is very much one of those people that she wants to wash dishes. She wants to do it by hand. She feels like she gets it cleaner that way.
Yeah, I get behind that plenty of times.
So I repaired those. So now she's doing what she does in the kitchen, trying to get it straightened up to her standards. I'm doing what I need to do to try to get stuff into that area for my stuff and to make it open space in that room for him. It's just been a snowball effect. It's just rolling downhill. Like, even before you said you were ready for a call, me and the boys spent like 45 minutes right here in this office and took a bunch of crap out. We'll probably be on it again when the podcast is over. Stuff is starting to come together. I mean, you're starting to see things get open, clear, wide, clean. The living room, I don't think the floor's been that open in the living room, and God knows when. Yeah. animals are starting to be able to roam larger parts of the house instead of just being localized to a room because we've got to clean that room up before it's safe for them and stuff like that. So we're getting there. It's been a very very busy Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 5 days.
Been very, yeah, okay, okay. So, and you found quite a few things while doing this, and I
I
said this before
did.
the podcast.
I did.
When you were not looking for something, you are more likely to find it than you were ever looking
I
for it.
mean,
And
we found the lightsaber vape. We found the Superman pearl necklace. We found the cup. Um, we
I'm
found
sure you
a
found Southie found a few things that she was missing. I'm pretty sure the kids find a few things they were missing. It just amazes me every time I go
hey.
look for something. I look right over it.
The kids don't like one item that I found. I'll show that to you after stream. They were hoping I would never find that thing again, but
That was like somebody throwing a needle in a haystack going, he'll never find it again. Whee! And then he finds it. It's like, whoa. He found it.
yeah. Um, in the process of all this, as I've stated before, I had already built Stealthy a new tower. She's having a great time with that. We replaced her mouse, so no more of the move mouse move crap. And I fixed her camera. So I've been a
Thanks
bit.
to 3D printing.
Thanks to 3D printing, you're absolutely right. The tricks that I used to fix that camera light was literally stuff that I learned from resin printing. And
Model making.
the camera that I made that I fixed for myself also from printing. It just that particular skill set come from PLA printing. So Stealthy was cutting up with me the other day. She's like, I don't know many men that can literally weld plastic together. They don't have those kinds of devices laying around, but you have gotten so used to having that little thing that you're like, oh, I can repair that. Sand.
Yeah. It's just plastic, and long as the plastic can weld to itself, it's like metal welding. It's like TIG welding. You take metal, you take hot, you take some flux, and you TIG weld all across it. It's just you're just welding, and the TIG stuff or the powder that's on it usually gets rid of any of the impurities or oxygen that could be formed around the weld and the metal when you're welding it onto something. Just like plastic, where you're just taking one plastic and literally heating it up and then putting another plastic, and then you're melting the plastics together. So it's a weld.
Yeah.
And that can help out a lot. And of course, be able to make models in any facet. It can be something as simple as making a circle inside of a circle, and as long as you have the dimensions correctly, and the outer ridges, you're pretty much a simple thing. It's just put round circle into round circle.
And it's
Not putting
it also
peg inside of a round circle.
it doesn't hurt if you got tools like I have a cheap caliper that I bought.
Yeah.
So I can walk up there and be like, 33 millimeters, cool. That's a circle, stretch it 33 millimeters, punch a hole in the middle. Look, I just made a bushing.
Yeah, that's simple engineering. I think anybody can do it. And if you don't have those skills, they really are not they're very hard at all. Like I used to work at a job where I had to measure holes all the time. It is really simple. It really isn't that hard. Once you learn how to read a tape measure and read some calibers, it's the tool does all the work for you. You just got to look at it. You just got to look at it and goes, oh, it says that, so it must be that.
Yep. Yeah, and make sure you keep your caliper zeroed out so that it reads accurately. Because if you don't,
Oh yeah, those things will will eventually be misaligned or miscalibrated. Also, tape measures are these things will also get decalibrated as well. Weirdly enough, because these little things at the end, eventually, the little things right here, the hooks will eventually expand.
Yep.
And that's that little tiny measurement. That little tiny thing. That's enough to screw up a lot.
Yep. Yes. Especially in the 3D print world.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
or any metal making world that I was usually a part of. But for me this week we got my wife finding something she's been wanting for a while, and I'm totally found down for it. She pretty much got her printer,
yep,
but her printer is a Cricut.
yep.
I think it's called a Cricut. It's Cricut 2. But this kind could do decals and cut out stickers and cut out things for T-shirts and all that stuff. So it cuts out like all of it for you, and also these little markers. Kind of weird, like markers. I don't get it. It can draw for you in a sense, but it can't print for you. But it can draw. It's kind of weird, but that's how I did this on my cup. We just one of my emotes, or my emotes, my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Grimmer by the way, and it says moist and it's Grimmer Bear doing a dab, and we just cut it out on paper, on a sticky paper we have, and I just stuck it to my cup because I can. It's supposed to be waterproof. We'll see how far that goes, but we're supposed to be getting some real stuff. So real simple, but
So,
man, oh, those things are expensive.
hey man, let me tell you something. Something else that's really nice is now you can officially make your own skins for your game consoles and your computers.
Oh yeah, you know I want to
Yeah,
badly.
like I want to send her dimensions so she can make me one. I got a laptop. I got a laptop back here to my left
Uh-huh.
that would love to have a skin on it.
Oh yeah. So it's something. It's things that we can start making merchandise myself, and that's something my wife has been hugely about. She wants to help me out more since she's not going to school right now. She wants to help out my channel. She's trying to learn how to edit it, but it's not very. She's not very good at it yet, because like I said before, editing anything is a pain in the ass.
Yes.
Even making thumbnails is a
Absolutely.
pain in the ass. So if anybody thinks it's really easy to pick up,
No.
no, it'll
No.
take you days and weeks, and even when you think you become good at it, you still could be better at it.
Yep.
And I actually, for anybody that does not know this, I actually set up a Fiverr to if anybody wants to make a thumbnail, I can make you one. I have a Fiverr thing going on, but no one's hit me up yet. I get it, right? I'm not like a professional, and I'm not gonna claim as such, and I have like no reviews yet. But maybe when I get one job, I can get that one job or two. I don't know.
I
Some sort of
gotta
side job.
I gotta get with you on the process of creating emotes because
Yes.
I would like to have a couple for my stream since I'm
Mhm.
getting back into that. By the way, 39 followers now. We are only 11 away.
Damn. Okay. So if you haven't hit the follow button on his channel, Corvo at Twitch.tv, just help him out. But okay, get this. I have volunteered to do like 4 or 5 channels, not just yours, to do the emotes on their channels, and even to some people do it for free. And they end up doing like getting emotes from other channels, and I don't know what it is. It maybe it's like a self pride thing, but I just look at their emotes and go, I could do better. I don't,
Listen,
I don't know. I
listen.
feel bad.
I'll be happy to be your beta test, baby. You go out here and throw some shit together. I'll throw them in there and be like, "Look, you see these emotes? These are the grumpy. Y'all hit him up. Y'all talk to him.
Oh, we're gonna do all the stickers of my emotes, by the way. All the ones where he's like, he's drooling or troll face or a face. I'm gonna do all those because I don't know, it'd be something little interesting. Stay tuned. More information that later on. And I something like that. I'm kind of glad I learned how to do it, but I'm not really doing it. It's kind of like for 3D printing. I'm not doing it for making money off of it, though I can. I know I probably could make money off of making emotes for other people and other channels, but I don't really want to do it in a sense where I need to I'm doing it just purely for profit. If someone
Well,
wants to pay me,
it's
sure, I'll
it's
do it.
it's
But it's not
like
like a
it's like me. I deal with that at work every day. People come by, see some of the prints I have sitting around on my desk. They're like, "Hey, you want to print this for me? I'll pay you some money." Honestly, sometimes I say no. Sometimes I say yes. Depends on the mood I'm in. But usually the no's come from a place of this is my hobby. This is not something I want to turn into work because work is no longer fun. I want my hobby to stay fun. I've
yeah.
had I've had so many hobbies over the years that when I started out with them, they were great, they were fun, and then eventually they flow into somebody wanting me to do it for them, makes a little money, and then it turns into a job, and at that point, I'm not having fun anymore. I mean, that's kind of what happened with me in computer building. I started out building computers. I enjoyed building computers. I liked seeing, how far can I push it? How well can I build it? What can it do? Then it flowed over into people wanting me to build computers for them and set stuff up for them, and then it turned into an actual job, and then it stopped being fun because it started being about, if you don't get this done just right, your customers going to complain and they're going to be wanting their money back or this, that, and it's just the headaches that I don't want with my hobby.
Yeah, well, also I don't want to disappoint nobody, right?
Right.
Like with 3D printing, I know the most of the work with the 3D model is good. All I got to make sure is my printer prints it. That's all I got to worry about is making sure it prints it good and prints it right. But when it comes to making a emote or a thumbnail, I'm making that from the ground up. I am literally the foundation, and I am the structure. Then I am the end product, and I don't really think myself as a bad artist in any sense, but I don't know if I'm going to beat the quality that they're expecting it. But when I
Right.
see other people's quality, I go, I could do better though. But then, can I? And when I bring it to them and I go, yeah, mine's better, and they go, yeah, yours is actually worse. Then I'm gonna feel like it's like, really? I thought
Damn.
it was pretty good.
Yeah. Right. So you don't want to put yourself in a place of disappointment because then it might take some of the enjoyment out of it. You
Mhm.
don't want to disappoint them. There's a lot to it. People don't
And when it
get.
comes to money too, when money's involved, it's just a lot more pressure to it. A
Well,
lot more pressure.
yeah, and then you have to come up with that baseline. What do I charge? What is my base rate, and how do I expand on that? How do I, if this one's more complicated than the last, how do I explain it to the customer? You're going to get charged a little more because this. I mean, there's a lot to it, dude. There is a lot. Um, it's not something that you just wake up and be like, oh, I know all the answers. I can do this now. I mean, if that was the case, I'd own a bar downtown. I'd be cooking food for everybody and hanging out and having good drinks. But
Sure.
there's a lot of work to that. There's permits you have to get. There's certifications you have to get. There's business loans that have to be obtained. There's a place for it. There's a lot of stuff. Okay, now it doesn't.
Uh, but I'm sorry, my wife to come and decided to talk to me when I was worried. What's going on, honey? Okay, so yeah, I get that with the whole all the paperwork, and then you got to hire the crew. You got to make sure they meet the quality of your expectation and be able to replicate what you're doing. Because you don't want to be always be the cook. You're supposed to be managing the place. You got to worry about everybody's payments, hours, repairs, new equipment, hiring people, checking their
Right,
qualifications. You got other things to be worried about other than just are you cooking the food right? And
right,
then you'll be on the floor making up for their mistakes. You don't want to be worried about that.
right.
Um, sorry, but my dog, Lotus, as you well know, Lotus, the old English dog, he's been getting yeast on his toes, on one of his toes. So it's been getting an infection on it, and we've been trying to get rid of the yeast and the infection on it, which we already had to pop one thing on it, which was not very good. But he's been licking his feet constantly because it's making his feet itch. So we're fixing it up, and only to get him to stop licking his toes, we got to put a cone on him. And let's say he ain't happy about it. He's running into anything and everything he can, just being a big old goofball as he is. He's like, I don't give a dang. And now he's like so upset about having a cone around his head, he doesn't want to eat. He's just
Ah, I know the struggles. You think he's bad? Try putting that on a freaking 95-pound female Rottweiler and expecting it to stay on.
Yeah, he's having a hard time keeping it on, but he has to stay it on because if not, he's gonna lick and lick and lick and lick at his feet, and we don't need him licking when we're trying to clean the infection and clean the yeast off of his feet.
And this little
Um,
this little turkey got cut. He got clipped. Look at that.
yeah,
All that line mane up front and all that shave in the back.
There's one fluffy dog that I've seen a couple weeks back. I think the dog passed away where they were cutting the dog to look like a bear. I don't know if you've ever seen the image of it, but it's cute as can be. But the dog's passed away now. I would love to have one of those. Like I just have a little bear chase me down, just be funny. Um, I don't know how you would strap a little tag on the back of his butt to make it look like a stuffed teddy bear. But
What get you a really loose rubber band and put one of those Tyco type.
but that's what they have. But I don't think you turn that into a little bear.
You can. It's all about how you clip it. Like his sister, when we went and picked him up, if we'd have had the money, we'd have bought her too because the lady already had her clip to look like that, and Jasmine was in love.
I bet. Even I would be like, "Oh, it's a little bear." No, it's a little yappy thing. Okay. So, a little news. We got my truck fixed,
Sweet.
and I could drive it again legally. And I was technically right. Okay, so let me break this down for somebody that made not this whole information. So when we moved here, we had to use a big U-Haul to move the majority of our things here.
Right.
But we didn't need a big U-Haul to move the majority of the remaining pieces of items to this house. So I went, let's get a U-Haul. The problem is my truck doesn't have a U-Haul lights attachment to it. So we bought the kit, had U-Haul put the kit on my truck for me. We paid for that. They got it on my truck. We were able to remove the remaining things. Thanks to everybody's donations, I was able to do this. Trust me, it's an investment. So I don't have to worry about this kind of stuff in the future. I can just move it myself, but with the U-Haul. But we got a kit on it, and then we got the U-Haul plugged up to it. And when we had it plugged up, I drove it from the U-Haul place to my home. And when I tried to turn off the truck and turn it back on, the truck would not crank. This is a bit of a story here, so follow along. And we were wondering what happened. What happened? Nothing's changed from there to here other than that light kit. Got the U-Haul on my vehicle. I drove it home. I turned it off. Now I can't turn it back on. Well, somehow between all that happened, the fuse for the reversing of my vehicle blew. But the problem is, you look at the fuse, there was nothing wrong with it. But they switched it out. You all finally came over to our place, swapped out the fuse. It got going. Didn't think nothing of it. We got here, and we never knew it. But in all this stuff happening, it also blew another fuse that turned off my idle reverse or my idle brake lights. You know, where you turn on your headlights, your back lights turn on too, but not as bright.
Your running lights.
Yeah, my running lights. Those blew. And then my entire dashboard, where my fans and all that stuff, all those lights were off. And my reverse, my stick shift, those lights that told me whether I'm on D or 3 or 2 or reverse, all those lights turned off. I'm like, what the? And I'm thinking, okay, probably another fuse. And my wife was like, well, we don't really know. We went to a place, cost us $35. It was a fuse. And I was right the entire time. I was trying to get, replace it myself, the fuse. But we bought a kit that was supposed to be meant for our truck. It was not the right fuse at all. And my wife was like, I don't know what fuse it might be. I don't know. It might be something else. Let's go get it might be the wires. Some of the wires, they might have installed it wrong. And I'm going, I have a feeling it might be a fuse. Like, well, it could be the wires. I think it might be the fuse, though. So we brought it to the thing. Next day, it was fixed, $35. Not a big deal. But now I can drive my truck legally so I can get back out there. Right at the perfect time where gas 15 cents. Oh, to me, I want to go out and do some deliveries, and the gas is gonna. No, I just don't want to drive deliveries with that expensive of gas. Oh, so needless to say, I'm gonna wait for the gas to hopefully drop. I heard it might be go up to $6. I hope not, cause I really want to get back out there and make some side money. so I can start delivering everybody's prizes. Anime is the only one that has not told me what the heck he wants. I got
You
Leo's
too?
item ready.
You too? Because Anime hadn't told me what to print for him yet either.
That man, he's a elusive one. He's about as hard to get in contact when it comes to getting contact with you
There
sometimes.
ain't but one person I know of that can get a hold of that Joker at any kind of speed, and she's in there taking a nap right now.
Okay, so what's that thing? Let's talk about the what I showed you this past week and your thoughts on it, because I know you like doing cards.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I'm gonna put this video maybe in the chat so everybody can check it out yourself. Um, as y'all may or may not know, I'm a big avid fan of Pokemon, and somebody did this video where they took large stock Pokemon cards and then printed them out or bought them. I don't know if they bought them or not. They're already out there. Images at and then made it like a, what would you call it? Like um there's a word for it. Not a aquarium. Collage. Um hmm. Like they took scenery and then put Pokemon in the scenery and then made like a box for it. Not a shadow box, but and then made the Pokemon look like it was like a 3D card. When you look from the front of it, it looked like a 3D card because you can actually see scale and size and the area the Pokemon was in by using a 3D model, some small arts and crafts planery, some grass stuff, some glue, a curable resin. And I'm thinking this is right up Corvo's alley, and mostly every sense of the word. Got a 3D printer, likes making huge 3D cards. All he needs is learn how to do a little bit of a scenery with it, and he has
Yeah,
the whole thing running for him.
yeah. I've been looking at it. I even looked at where to get some of the scenery items. I got a line on that stuff. Um, Something that popped in my head while I was watching this was you could literally scale it back a little bit instead of putting it in a box or putting a bunch of stuff around it. You could just do the card with
Mm-hmm.
with the 3D image protruding from the card. Like
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah.
like it's bursting out of the card. I think that would
Mm-hmm.
be cool. I think a lot of people would like that.
So, okay, for those who have never seen it before, let me describe this to you. This is what I'm thinking in my head when you brought that up. Some people have took 3D models, or not 3D, took images, and they made 3D images out of those, or 3D prints out of those images. And what it does is certain layers are thicker than the other, and more shallow than the other. So when you shine light through it, it looks like the image, and it's just different layer densities of the imagery. So maybe you could do that, or if you could figure out elongate the image inside of it so it has a more field of view of depth. If anything that comes out at you, I don't know.
Now I got something that else that came from that video. You sparked a little thought in my head. I think I have an idea of how to turn a flat card into a 3D printable card.
Okay.
So I don't remember. I don't know if you remember. I was screwing around with SVGs and converting them and stuff like that into scalable models and stuff at some point.
Yes.
So for people that don't understand, when you make an SVG, anything that is black becomes the object. Anything that is white becomes nothing. Okay.
Yes.
Once you have the black, you can put it in Tinkercad, something like that, and you can scale it. Height, width, thickness, everything.
Okay.
So I did some thinking, and I was thinking about taking one of my cards and having someone go through and making multiple pieces to this card. So, like, let's say you take the border. Let's say the border is all purple, right?
Wow.
So you draw out the purple, but you color it all in black. That's one layer.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
You with me? Then let's
Yes.
say behind that in part of the frame, you've got a couple of pieces at the top left and top right that are red. You do just those. That's another frame. And what happens is you eventually end up with all the objects for the picture. You import them into your whatever your favorite CAD program is, whether it be Mesh Mixer, Tinkercad, whatever. Now you have all the objects, you put all the objects, you arrange them in the way that it looks like the card. And now you can scale each object independently to give it that depth.
Yes.
And the detail. Once it's all there, all you got to do is hit merge. It merges it all back together into one model. Slice it, and print it.
My brain, to you said mergery, I was actually thinking like a shadow box.
Nope. You merge it into a single model, and it becomes a 3D model with detail, depth, thickness, the whole 9 yards. So, for instance, here's a good example of what I mean by that. Remember the old Harry Potter things that you sent me? What got all this started? Okay, now when you look at it, the filigree around it is a different height than the shield, and then the items on the shield are a different height than this and that and the other. So if you take all those and draw those individual components individually and make them black, now you have a scalable model of each one of those components. All you have to do is lay them back in the right order, scale them the right way, and hit merge, and you just merged them all back together, and you took a flat image and turned it into a 3D model.
Okay. I wonder if you guys should do that with. Well, I imagine you probably could do something like that with actual models. When you merge it, maybe you'll have to like flatten a bit of the back of it. Maybe I don't know if you could, just cut it and then merge it to an image, and so it'll be all flush with the actual stuff itself. But then you have to worry about scale. I don't know. That'd be something. A lot of stuff would be a test to see if you actually get a view of it, and of course you got to think of perspective. Like you want to be able to have a different perspective. We look this way, and different perspective. We look that way. Do you want to be able to see around it a little bit, or is it a front-on image? So whether or not you want to make one side a little bit more rounded,
right?
Or if you want to add a little bit of the like say a tail, right? You can't really see around the entire creature, but you see the tail actually in the next layer behind it, and it's protruding a little bit, so it's not really attached to the model, it's per se, but you can see it when you look at it from this angle, but when you look at the other angle, you can't see it,
right?
Because it's on the other side of the body, coming around or whatever you might say. And that's all a perspective thing. And of course, if you want to make the eyes just slightly off kilter to make it look like it's always staring at you, that's a little interesting art they do in art where they make the eyes slightly off. So when you look at it, it always looks like it's staring at you. But in reality, it's just perspective.
Yep. But yeah, those are some of the ideas that come out of that video.
But I hope it does. I think that's good stuff right there. I'll say it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. I think 3D printing can be implemented in so many different ways. I've seen some people. What? Go ahead.
I have something to show you. Hold on.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna show them my little arts and crafts. I made a show this last week, but I finally got it done. This is a caster gun. For everybody does not know, this is a 3D printed model of a replica of my favorite anime. And I finally got it 100% done. Triggers there, the back sight's there, the front sight's there. This thing is ready to paint and going, and I'm a lady. Also, this thing comes down, and this thing can be pulled out. So it's an actual, like, almost functioning in a sense of what it can do mechanically, just light-wise and some other mechanical things it's not capable of doing. It's supposed to be a solid piece.
Here you go.
In the model.
Something I printed for the Stealthy. I finally got all the stuff off of it.
Oh, that looks so nice.
It's beautiful.
Okay. It kind of reminds me of the like a bigger version of it, of the amoeba? Amoeba figurine from Twilight Princess. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody scanned it and then made it a thing by itself.
I mean, that thing looks awesome. She's got a little bit of sanding she's got left to do, But then she actually bought that kit that I told you about, the polishing kit.
Yeah.
She bought it. She's going to put it on there.
Polish. She's gonna polish that. Okay,
Yep.
she's gonna keep it like it is.
Yep. So there's like this thing has 3 different compounds.
Yes.
And so you start out with a heavy grit paper with the first compound. And when you move to the second one, you get a little bit finer grit. And the last one, it's like a wet sand almost. Mm-hmm. And then it has a spray. When you're done, you spray it.
Yeah.
And then you let it dry. And it looks... She did a little bit of a test on a piece. If I knew where it was, I'd show you. I mean, she didn't go into real heavy work on it.
Yeah.
But here we go. So when I first printed this, because it's part of the center of the Geo Oculus right here. When I first printed this, there was light could not pass through this thing. It was so dingy. And she has been working on it slowly. Dude, this right here is so smooth, it ain't even funny. It's like glass. So she hadn't sprayed the wet on there yet.
It's a smoky glass right now.
Right. So I'm thinking whenever she puts that wet on there, this thing's going to light up like a Christmas tree.
I hope so. Okay, so I think you sent it to me one time. Is it the one with the 3 different type of
yes, yeah,
bottles?
The 3 different bottles, yes.
Okay, so if everybody's understanding, think of it's not really actual sandpaper. It's like liquid sandpaper.
Well, what you're supposed to do is use sandpaper with it.
Oh, you're supposed to use 2 things on top of it? Okay.
So what you do is you put the first one on there and you use your heavier grit paper. Okay?
Rub it in.
And then you wipe it off. And then you put the second one on there and get a little bit finer grit and go over it. And then the last one is almost, you just do like a wet sand with it and then spray it with the clear. That's the third bottle, is kind of like a clear compound. You just spritz it.
Yeah.
And then, dude, it's amazing what it does.
Again, I want to try it out because I'm gonna print me another one of those Charizard ball ones because my wings broke, and see if it's able to give it the same effect without actually having to need to spray a clear paint of gloss on top of it. That stuff gets tacky, doesn't always dry right.
Yeah.
I try to, mist it and then wait for it and then mist it again. And it takes so much. And even then, it might turn out tacky or not fully hardened. It's just a pain in the butt. I could do it.
The thing about this, though, it's all about the buffing at the end. It's about the buffing. So when you sand it, you're supposed to buff it and then do the next one. Sand it and buff it. The problem is that you kind of need almost like a little Dremel tool with a buffing wheel on it to be able to buff it fast enough for it to make any real impact.
I can see that. And also fine details, right? You wouldn't want to go in with a big one, big old wheel and go, I hope you don't break.
Yeah.
These are smaller things. That's a big ass wheel. Like you might want to go.
And you were asking about the gun, so
yes.
Let me grab those parts.
And again, while we 3D print these things for amusement, there are, like I said, there's actual factual things you can print to, like they just say that the camera that Corvo fixed, and another arm on it, or the light ring on it. You guys see it, but I did. And you can repair things, even refrigerator parts, and I've seen people fix door handles and car repair parts, and there's so many things. You just got to be willing to either find a print of the models or make it yourself. And of course, I would say if anybody out there actually good at 3D modeling and you're not making no money and you want to get into gaming, try a little off business and make 3D models for 3D printers like me and Corvo. Trust me, we'll go there.
There's your barrel.
Mm-hmm.
So
you haven't got any further yet?
I've sanded. Yeah, I have. I'll show you the rest of it. So I sanded all of this. This is smooth. Okay, I'm not worried about clearing it because I'm going to paint it.
Yes.
Okay, and then I've printed some of the smaller components, but the most impressive thing, honestly, was the hammer. So I've printed the hammer for this thing.
Oh
Guys,
man, that is.
I don't know if you have seen an actual hammer to a revolver, or at least one of the older school revolvers, but if you look, it's got everything that is supposed to be on a real hammer. Like, if you put this in a functioning gun, it might not last very long, but it would function as long as you put a little metal nib right there.
I wonder if you could. Well, let's see. Here's my thought.
Tell me that that's not beautiful, though.
It's very pretty, but let me say, if you were to cast that, let's say, do a sand mold of that, and cast it in some kind of steel or copper or iron or aluminum, and then the entire thing could it actually be a functioning, like maybe not a very long function, but could it be functioning as actual gun? I don't know.
That's the trigger.
Very small trigger.
Yeah, well, those old guns were tiny, tiny triggers. Here is one of the pins for the gun. So you'll get the difficulty of how hard it was to get this right. I'm going to see if I can get up the camera. Can you see the slot?
No, it's so small in details.
Okay,
That's so
so
small.
it literally has a perfect flathead slot in it, like it's supposed to. That's one of the pins. And then I have the other pins in my hand here.
Oh, don't lose them.
So you seen what they were in, right?
Yeah.
So,
God dang it.
but it's very impressive. I hadn't printed anything else because I was moving stuff, but
Yeah.
now it's set back up. So as soon as I can do what I like to call my cleanup, I think it's time to change my FIP film too, because it looks like it's gotten stretched a little, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
As soon as I can get that done, then we'll finish up the rest of the parts. I'll get her all put together, and then I might do a stream in between the assembly of me painting them. Because I don't know if you can see real good, but the barrel alone has a crap load of detail. So there's rings right here. Those rings are silver. This is gold. And then all the rest of it is black except for the engraved lettering, which is also silver.
Yeah.
So that one piece, it's going to be a minute.
Could be a little brush. Could be a little brush.
Itty bitty, like there better be 2 hairs on that brush to do that scroll work.
Which, if anybody ever does get into resin printing and wants to know what I use for, because you can paint straight on top of resin if you want to, but okay, so for filament prints, I use a filler paint primer, but for resin, you have so many details on that thing, you don't want to mess up the details, and you don't want it to be thick stuff. I use Creality Max primer.
That's the same one I use.
Gray primer. I use this one because this is a very light. It still primes. You still can get good details out of your stuff, and it won't go on thick, but it will get on there enough so you actually see all the details still, and you don't need that many coats, and it dries pretty fast, and it holds on to the print really well. And even then, like, people think, oh, you don't need to sand resin. It's still best to just do it. You don't need to. It's just best. Because I showed that video of the card maker. The guy was literally taking prints right off the printer and washing them and cleaning them and also like that, and then start painting them, and it was just fine. But I could still see the rings on it, and the little tiny small rings, and I could still see where the supports were attached to it.
And that's
little tiny.
I still say these things right here are like a miracle. You see how I'm holding this thing?
Yeah, like those little tiny things, like you won't be able to see it unless you get close. But I promise you, when you start painting it, they'll stick out like a sore thumb if you're not doing it right. That's why like, if you're really not gonna sand it at all, maybe a filler primer would do that good for you. But problem is, filler primer is pretty thick, so you might lose a little detail. It really is one of those things. It depends on the person and the commitment. Because I printed out pieces that I showed in the past really look like figurines, and I'm not jerking my own self off here. I feel like I'm getting better at it. It just 3D prints resin can be a little fragile if you over cure it.
Well, see, the nice thing about this rod is you see that tip. So when you're sanding, what goes into your engraving? All that dust. Well, this thing right here, I can just run right around and chase it out. And it comes right out, and you hit it with like a can of compressed air. Mm-hmm. And all you got to do, prime and paint, baby. And I hadn't told you this, but I literally have got the models. I found the models for the Demon Blade as well.
Yeah.
The Angel Blade, the Archangel Blade, and the First Blade.
Man, you went through all of it, didn't you?
I've got them all, and every one of them will be painted at some point, and every one of them will be on the wall. What I'm doing, and I know this sounds corny as hell. Yes, I'm a Supernatural fan, guys, in case you can't tell. But
I haven't finished it yet, so.
Sounds corny as shit, but as these weapons roll up in the series, I am printing them and putting them up. Right now, the Cult is the main focus. The Demon Blade has just showed up on the scene. It will get done next. And then you'll get your Angel Blade, your Archangel Blade, and then last it'll be the First Blade, because they don't bring the First Blade into it until way later in the series when they're dealing with Cain.
Oh, speaking of Cain, in the sense of it, did you see where I got in Castlevania last stream?
I seen that you were working towards getting to the Vampire Queen.
She's dead.
She's dead?
She's dead.
How did you enjoy her?
She was way easier than the Lycan.
Yeah, the Lycan was fast as shit. That was the problem with him. He was fast as crap.
And glad I didn't go vampire, because they are not attractive creatures when they transform, to say the least. I could definitely see the problem, prior to the transformation, but during transformation, I'm so glad he didn't take that bait, because that would have been a wake up in the morning and roll over situation and regret your life decisions. And I just got Baba her rose.
How did you like the Baba puzzles?
Baba wasn't bad.
Baba was a pain in the ass. I watched the stream when you were doing Baba. Baba's aggravating as hell.
It's just getting those musical tones in the right order to go the right directions was a bit of a trial and error, but I was in gamer sense mode, right? It was just like something like, I know how games think here. I know how they're gonna think here. So this is probably gonna go here. It's probably gonna go there. Okay, let's try that one out. And, okay, didn't work. Change one thing. Okay, we're good. And it was pretty much that the entire round. It wasn't like this thing that I was like, no, we don't do that. Then we keep the pattern fairly simple, so you don't go too buck wild. But I have to say, I am looking forward to fighting Death. I don't know how close I am to beating the game.
You think it's Death? You think it's Death?
Well, that's what he called him. The guy called him Death.
The Necromancer?
Yeah, the Necromancer. Why did he call him Death? I'm like, my brain is going. He's literally the physical thing of
they call him Death because he's a necromancer. So, like, you fought a werewolf, you fought a vampire. Now you've got to deal with a necromancer. And boy, let me tell you, the necromancer, he's a pain in the ass, but he's not the one you got to worry about.
Okay, so there is another boss past it.
Oh yes, there is, in theological terms, the ultimate boss.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Before I get all parts of the mass and become literally God's right hand. in the
Well,
sense of the word.
you're gonna have to. It's gonna be Lucy. Stop hitting me.
I had more problem with the little robot little Frankenstein
Does
fetus
yeah.
than I almost had with beating the vampire queen at one time. I'm
Yeah.
like, this little thing doesn't want to just die.
Here's what I find hilarious. So of all the things you fight, all the way up to the last thing, the thing that they make you become is literally a vampire.
Yeah, when she said you once become us eventually, I'm like, technically that's true. But in my mind, I can't help but think like he's a bit like, and when with all the creatures he defeats, I'm like, does he become like a vampire lichen?
So let me ask you a question.
Necromancer?
Let me ask you a question. One of the things that made Dracula special was he had certain abilities that none of the other vamps had, right?
Yes.
So he could turn into a wolf. I wonder where he got that characteristic from.
Uh-huh.
He could turn into bats, suck blood, and be mist. I wonder where he got that characteristic from.
Uh-huh.
And he could literally raise an army of dead.
True. And he was also like a genius in the
sciences, yes.
Yeah, like he was a brilliant scientist in a lot of things. Like he made his house, a living bionicle being, and in a sense, it can teleport, it can move, it could fly. It literally had jack of all trades.
So when you think about that, all the traits, if you think about all the shadow lords that you faced or will face, every one of those traits come from one of those lords.
Yeah, I'm like this.
Like you are literally, even the person that set you on the path doesn't know that they set you on the path outside of what they thought. They think that they set you on this path to accomplish this for them, and really there's a whole big picture outside of that they don't even realize that God was like, I knew this shit was gonna happen, so I'm gonna let him go through your little gauntlet shit. I need him to acquire certain things.
Like, good thing he's going there, because I needed him to go there first place. It was just a stop on the journey. That's what it was. Just a stop. Little pit stop. I'm gotta give you a snack real fast.
Yeah.
I'm liking the game. The camera's my biggest boss in that game. And also save points. Save points and my camera. I fight that more than anything. I will die on that hill. But okay. So let's go to another topic of our usual kind of thing. And I know you've seen it, and I know I got Stealthy's view on it. I want to get your views on it. How and what are you thinking about the game that's just released literally this morning on PC and mobile devices, and that will be Ni no Kuni Cross Worlds.
Actually, unlike the second one, because I loved the first one. I didn't necessarily like the beginning of the first one, but I loved the overall story and play of the first one.
Yes.
Second one, I wasn't a real big fan of it. I don't. The gameplay is similar in some aspects, but the differences are what threw me off. But looking at this one, I'm back to where I was with the first one. I'm thinking I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm thinking I'm gonna like it a lot. It looks nice. Looks like they put some work into keeping that world looking the way we've all come to expect Ni no Kuni to look.
Yes.
Beautiful, fantastical. With that cartoonish with the right art style. I feel like they kept that. So I'm very happy with that. Very curious about some of the characters that I've seen in some of the trailers. Seen some of the characters seem to reference an Evan bloodline. Some of them seem to reference more of an Oliver bloodline. So I'm feeling like we're going to see a little bit of both bloodlines in there, and Things can get real. But honestly, I have to say, my favorite character. Granted, they would never bring that character back because, well, she's done all she's going to do for the series. But
Yeah.
I was a huge White Witch fan.
Okay.
I loved everything about that villain. Um, Even the story behind that villain, because I mean, she didn't choose to be a villain. She was kind of tricked into it, you know. And then when she tried to defy it, it tried to defy her, you know.
Okay. So here's a two-part question for you. Outside the scale of what it looks like, and outside the scale of the story, how do you feel? One, you think this game could be a competitor on par, if not better, than Genshin Impact, another PC slash mobile game with gacha like mechanics in it, but not really in a full on character to character, which more characters could come out later on. And two, do you feel like this game is going to call to audiences better since it has so much to do with co-op?
I don't know.
That's what people are saying right now.
I
A lot of
feel
people are saying
I don't
Genshin Impact this game.
I don't say that. I don't look at it that way because the way I look at it is okay. There was gonna be tons of co-op in it. It was Nino Kuni. Nino Kuni had you playing multiple characters, and it was real easy to write that into as you can co-op and have those multiple characters as multiple people. Um, Genshin, on the other hand, is on the story based side is heavily driven on a single character's story. So it's not really meant to be, hey, 12 male travelers get together and go do this. No, it's supposed to be one traveler. It's supposed to
Yeah.
be the story of one traveler's, travel to figure out what the hell and how do I get my sibling back. To me, that is two different games. Um, you have the character in Genshin trying to get his sibling back and trying to figure out why these things happened. And in a Nino Kuni world, it usually ends up being we're trying to save the world,
Yeah.
not just figure out a personal story and stuff. Um, does Genshin have the ability for that single focused story to turn into a save the world event at the end of it? Yes, because they left it open that way. They were smart about the way they wrote it. They're like,
Yes.
we're going to focus this character. This is who you are. This is what you're trying to accomplish. There's going to be little side things on the way, but this is your primary story, and you're going to travel this road. Now, can that story end up with you saving the world? Yes. Does it have to end up that way? No. They left it where they had some room. But I think anybody that has played a Nino Kuni would agree that you expect that something is going to happen that makes you have to save the world. You're going to realize this early in the game. It's not going to be oh, by the way, when you get to the end, the only way to get your sister back is to save the world. It's going to be, hey, you know, out the gate, the world has fallen to ruin, and you got to do something about it. So to me, that's two different games. So I don't feel comfortable saying one is going to outdo the other.
Okay.
Me personally, I would play either one of them, and I would play them probably just as much as I would play the other, because it's two different experiences for me. I wouldn't put them side by side and say, oh, well, I like this better than that. Now, I will say, if we're going to go on a visual, I like the Genshin art style better than I do the Studio Ghibli art style. That is just
Yeah, I get,
that is
I
just
get that.
that's just me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas my wife would probably be the exact opposite because she loves Studio Ghibli. She grew up, well, I wouldn't say grew up, but most of the anime she has a fondness for is in that realm. So she likes that art style. She's more driven that towards that direction. So I would say it's a fair chance that they're going to end up 50-50.
Okay, because a lot of people are saying with the, I don't know if I totally agree. Right? It's not. I haven't played it yet, so I don't know if it's going to be as grasping. But the co-op is really where it's just because it'd be a little bit more like an MMO, right? You're going to be playing with other players. You're going to be able to do dungeons and some like really hard, challenging things with people. And the gameplay to a lot of people is the bread and butter, and the storyline is it's an afterthought to them. Like
Right.
it's nice, but it's not really their main focus.
Right. And I get that. For me, I'm heavily storyline based. I look at things a certain way, so I would enjoy a story driven more than, hey, let's get together tomorrow and just spend hours in a dungeon. I've done that. I've done that gaming experience.
Yes.
It's called Fiesta. I've done that. I've done that for years. Okay.
You ran that route, you're good.
I run that route. I'm good. The problem that I have, and this is again a personal thing that I have, is I don't play well with others. What that means is if I'm in a party, me, you, Stealthy, whoever else, and somebody starts drama in that party in chat, I will stop talking to you. I will walk away from your party. I will leave you to die because I'm not dealing with that. That is not what I came to the game for. I came to the game to hang out, have a good time with friends. If we're not going to have a good time, well, all you fuckers can die because I'm the healer and I don't give a shit now. I'm that person. So it's not, unless I'm with people that understand me, and not going to start a bunch of drama, it's not conducive for me to play that type of a game. One of the things that we struggled with when me and Stealthy was playing Fiesta was finding people that I could gel with. So there was very far and few between in those, and honestly, when it was all said and done, in the end, there was only one that was able to regularly be in a party with us and do dungeons and do stuff like that, and it not make me want to reach through the microphone and choke them to death.
Okay. So here's my thought, and we can share your thoughts afterwards. Their gotcha system is not, as far as I can tell, could be wrong here. As far as I can tell, their gotcha system is not going to be on characters, but it'll be on materials and weaponry. And their way of making money from that, not only that, but also be on cosmetics. And I've always said I much rather a character that could be just straight up broken, and you could pretty much pay to win by spending hundreds of $1,000s, infinite scalable, and make that character better than anyone else. When all is just, here's some cosmetic, that's how we're making our money. There might be a few weapons you might want, but like you don't really need them. Like those are not really infinite scalable either, right? And once you get your weapon, you got it. There you go, done. Keep it going. But get you the pack, you can spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to get you a C6 character and blow through the game within 30 minutes, or not even 30 minutes.
I see. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't. I don't think you can take any C6 character and just blow through the game. I don't think so. I think because in my opinion, to do what you're saying you're doing, that would say you don't have anybody else in your party. It's just that one. It's just that one character. There's no way to take one character in one element of any party and go through that game like that. It's just not. It's not. I mean, imagine your 1C6 being a fire C6. What happens when you run your ass up in there and it's, the boss is an ice boss and it says stand still? You're screwed.
Yes.
I don't think there is a pay to win inside of Genshin. A pay to win inside of Genshin. I don't believe that at all. That's again. That's just me personally. I don't think
a lot of people say that the Genshin Impact is a pay to win because you can literally buy your character to C6. I'm like, every character can do what any other character do and can be a close, if not near to strong as them. But most people that pay C6 characters are also paying C6 for all the rest of their characters because that's what they like spending their money on. Is
right.
Really
all
other characters C6.
I don't think spending money in Genshin is what makes you good. I don't think that's going to help you really. I think what makes you good in Genshin is playing fucking Genshin. I mean, be honest. There has been times, and I know you've seen it, where you have seen a person with a maxed out character, with a maxed out weapon, with maxed out artifacts, everything as good as they can possibly be, go into a fight and get his ass handed to him. But you take the same character with a C3 and second best in hand and halfway leveled up artifacts, but you still pull out shit they couldn't pull out. You know why you did that? Because you know how to play your character. You spent the time. I can take a C1 and do things with a C1 in some areas that some people can't do with a C6, but it's because I spent time in that area. I know the area. I learned the game.
Certain characters buff and help outs and supports your main DPS. Some people can literally buy a entire group of supporting characters and wonder why they're not doing much as damage, because you don't got a main damage, you don't have an off damage or a buff damage, you don't have a support character, and you don't have a healer in your group. You just have all healers or all supports, and you don't really know how to min-max your characters.
Right. Whereas if you look at Ni no Kuni, it's going to be a different setup.
Just one character.
It's you got the character that you're playing, and that's by your choice, whichever one it is. So you're out of the gate, you're already limiting yourself, okay? Because you have to make a choice. And then on top of that, you're dependent upon other people's skills playing the supporting characters or DPS character, whoever you need, to be on par with yours to perform adequately.
I feel that.
Let's be honest. How many people do you trust keeping you alive in the middle of a dungeon? you get my point?
Even if they're an amazing healer, I play still on my back heel. Like, there's never been an MMO I've ever played or any game that I'm not going. I gotta survive myself because I know they're gonna fuck up at one point.
Look, man, I played with possibly one of the best healers in Fiesta. She's sleeping right now. Never once did I have to do it, but I always carried pots in with me. Because I always knew there's always a chance she's going to get hung up somewhere. And I ain't going to have no heals because she's trying to get herself out of shit. Did it ever happen? Never. I never once died because she didn't heal me. I would die because I would do stupid shit and her healing wasn't enough. But, I mean, that's even with her being max. Like, she had heals that should be able to be like God touching you on your shoulder, but I would do stupid shit like run up and slap 5 gods at one time. So, my point to that is it's always about what you're comfortable playing, who you're comfortable playing with. Like, I could see me and you and Stealthy playing that and it being fine. But me, Stealthy, and Joe Schmo off the street that wants to talk shit, I'm going to be done slapped him.
Some people say for those kind of games you want to play selfishly. I play my style is I'm selfish player, but I'm selfish to survive. Whatever I have to do to survive, that's what I'm doing.
See, I don't play. I don't
want to die.
I don't play that way. The way I play is, and the way I look at that is, okay, if we're going to be in a group together, then my job is all of us stay alive. Not just me or not just you. Matter of fact, I'm more likely, if I see your health going low and the kill SWAT coming to hit you, to jump in front of that and take that damage to keep you alive, than I am to stand there and go, oh shit, well, I'm alive and he's dead. But I've played with people that would sit there and know they've got full health and you've got 1 lick left on you. They could save you and they would be fine and still let you die because they don't want to run the risk of dying.
I've been in too many raids where I'll be like, okay, we're supposed to stop damage or stop attacking in 5, 4, and at 5, I'm already moving. I'm already stopped. Because I don't want to be that one Smo that just kept on going 5, 4, 3, and I'm still going. And at 1, a couple seconds, a milliseconds, I didn't stop, and then they messed up and they killed the entire raid. I'm going, I thought it wasn't me, it was him. He didn't stop. I am playing to survive. I will literally hinder myself in doing enough damage or whatever I gotta do to make sure that I don't die. Because I don't know if I die, well then someone else is probably gonna die too because of my mistake or um, my selfishness. I want to do that little bit more damage is gonna get someone else killed and make me look bad. I'm like, I'm gonna just stop and walk away, keep myself alive, and when everybody else is dead and I'm still attacking, I can at least feel like, look, everybody, you're a bunch of dumbasses. You all died. I stayed alive. I did good.
Hush.
Uh, but I'll check that out, anime. My wife wants me to play this one game. What's the name of the game, honey? What's that one game with the hugger? Yeah, my wife wants me to play a horror game, Poppy's Playtime. She wants to play
Yes,
that game
I've
out.
I've had I've had to have conversations with my children about watching those streams online because it literally freaked poor Ethan out to the point that he slept with me a couple of nights. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's Huggy
Fun toys.
Huggy Wuggy is
Not Huggy.
not Huggy.
He
Uh,
looked like he looks like a Cookie Monster had sex with a sloth.
Anime, by the way, you still owe me knowing what you wanted printed.
Yes, and you still gotta tell me what the heck Perla bead you want me to make you and what design. You gotta find it for me. We both hit you up on Discord. You are a tough cookie to get hold of. Goodness gracious. Anyways, so I will be playing Nino Cooney. So if you're interested in seeing and checking it out with me, I will be streaming that here in a few minutes. That'll be on Twitch chat Twitch.tv/Grumpy Bear. Be sure to go ahead and pull that up. If you are new here, you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. Any topic piece you want us to bring up or any thoughts and or get our opinions on it, Of course, merchandise also for this channel is now below as well. But if you have any merchandise ideas you'd like us to make or get going, let me know because I need to know what I gotta work for and try to help to support this channel and help us grow, help us get to 100, please. Please help me get to 100. Tell your friends, tell your family, have them go to their accounts, hit that like button. They don't need to watch the videos, though I would like them to, and help us grow. I would be thankful for all of that. Corvo, are you going to stream anytime this week?
It's going to depend on where I get with that room. My plan was to start the Shogo Mobile Armor, but I am trying to get this stuff straightened up first. But I will tell you that as soon as the Genshin thing kicks off, there will be at least a 2 hour stream every day during that. And guys, we are officially at 39 follows. We only need 11, and I'll catch that affiliate. So, hey, if you can help me out, please.
Yes, if you have an account, go ahead. And if you don't have an account, and let's say this is the first time you're on Twitch, just go try it out. It's streaming is not for everybody. Watch someone stream is not for everybody. But the way I've always seen streaming, and I'll always see streaming, it's like my teen years. You go to a LAN party, you sit down, you watch your friends play the video games, you cheer them on, you support them, you laugh at their mistakes, you cut up with them, you make jokes, and you see them utterly struggle and fail or succeed in the video game, and you're all there to sit around each other and have a good time with each other. And I think that's what I've always seen streaming, as if you're sitting right beside me as I'm playing the video game, and hopefully someday we'll be able to try it. I know I want to try playing the Untitled Goose Game with my wife, since multiplayer is going on now. I just don't know how or when I'm going to be able to do that, but I do know my wife wants me to play that horror game, so stay tuned for that if you're interested in watching me
I want to see
get
that.
jump scared. Yeah, I know you would. I
Mm.
am a
You need to send me the link to the game with the kid that was going through all the nightmares.
the teddy bear game.
Yeah, I want to play that one.
Okay. But yeah, twitch.tv/Corvo Bear. And for Corvo, that would be at twitch.tv/Corvo Ninja. And of course, you want to follow us on a TikTok. On my TikTok channel, that would be the Grover Bear on there, and the Grover Bear on Twitter, the Grover Bear on Instagram. I am pretty much the Grover Bear everywhere, but on my Twitch channel at Grover Bear, and here on YouTube, Bear Thoughts. So I hope y'all come here next week. Hope you enjoyed, and as always,